All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another live coaching call with Nato Marketing. We have the lovely Patience back here. Patience, we've been seeing so much of you and we love it.
No, it's so exciting.
Yeah, welcome back. So Patience has created the Instagram course, which I know many of you got an email about. It is live in our member section. If you're not a member, become one because it's free. But you can just purchase this course in the courses section on our pricing page as well. But Patience is here to talk to us about that course specifically, and we've got some live attendees here, so feel free to chime in any questions that you've got, and we're happy to help because I know Instagram is one of those things where we keep hearing about it, it's all over, you can't avoid it, but we're hesitant to jump into it because we don't know really what that ecosystem is. So we're excited to hear from you, Patience, as we go forward with this.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thank you. Yeah, Instagram is scary. Social media can be kind of scary. It's new, right? So it's the etiquette is evolving. So it's constantly changing anyway, even if we think we know what we're doing. But yeah, I think, you know, I'm going to try and just sort of touch on what I think the basics are, and especially coming from a content marketing perspective. Um, Social media falls under that umbrella of content marketing. So I'm going to try and sort of like give you ideas on what to do, how to use Instagram. But like you said, if anyone has questions, we do not have to follow, the presentation I have here. It's just sort of to get us going. So I'm super happy to answer any questions or try my best to answer questions. So derail me as much as you want. That's fine. But yeah, so we're just going to sort of talk about, like I said, the basics. So kind of how often should you be posting on Instagram? What kinds of things should you be posting? What kinds of photos or videos? What are hashtags? What's the point of hashtags? Do they do anything? How you should engage with other people on Instagram and why you should be engaging with other people, and sort of like the general content schedule. It's kind of like what I wanted to narrow in on a little bit. So yeah, I guess we can just sort of jump right in unless there's any questions or direction you wanted to touch on first.
Patience, can you speak a little bit to the difference between, because I know Facebook and Instagram, they're founded by the same, like they're under the same umbrella, right?
I think they're
Yeah,
actually, so Instagram is now owned by Facebook. It didn't used to be that way.
got
But
it.
so they're very much under the same umbrella. Instagram is image based. So with Facebook, it's really easy to post, articles. We talked last time, I think we talked about posting like recipes and sort of there's lots of different types of content we can post. Instagram's a little bit more vision based, so visual based. So photos and videos are sort of like the name of the game, obviously. But that actually doesn't mean you can't post information about blogs you just published, which I can sort of explain later on how you can do that. So they are under the same umbrella. They're a little bit different. It's sometimes easier for people to scroll through Instagram on their phone. It's a very mobile heavy app. You actually can't upload photos to Instagram from a computer. So it's all about using it on your phone. And the majority of people and parents are using their phones for browsing anyway. But
Absolutely. That's one of the things we track too when we're running ads for our schools is, where are these leads coming from? And 95% of them are on their mobile devices.
oh yeah, and it's really easy to fall down a rabbit hole on Instagram. That's sort of, and we talk about that with hashtags later on. But Instagram, it's super easy to meander around, and that's how people can find you on Instagram is because they're searching hashtag Montessori at home is a very common hashtag. And if they click on that hashtag, they can get all these search results that come up with different accounts that have that hashtag on posts of theirs. And if yours is in there, people can find you. And it's really easy for people to just sort of like fall down the rabbit hole, like I said, of Instagram with images and photos. It's really easy to consume. So both are valuable, both Facebook and Instagram. They are not, however, the magic ticket to anything. The reality is, very successful social media marketing takes an immense amount of strategizing. It takes money. It takes a lot of time, especially organic posting. So we talk about, we have paid search. You can do paid advertising on social media as well. And what we're just talking about today is organic. So we're not paying for anything. We're just trying to post content that is just engaging and interesting. And we're not putting any money behind it. We're just trying to build up our content here and hope that we're engaging our followers. It's really hard to increase your admissions if that's your goal. Doing just putting all your attention in Instagram and Facebook, unfortunately, is not going to do that for you. But if you are looking to engage current parents and families, or families who are interested in your school, it's a really great way to suck people in. And it's one of the best ways to teach prospective families about your school. It gives you a sense of behind the scenes, sort of a sneak peek into your school by using social media. So it is, it's still really great. I'm not saying it's not worth your time, but if you're thinking that like Instagram is it, this is how I'm going to, connect with people who know nothing about Montessori, and this is how I'm going to get those new families in here. That's not the answer. You're probably going to want to focus more on like Google Ads, bottom of the funnel stuff, but it is a must-have. You should have some form of social media for sure to connect with those families who are super, super close, or those families who are already enrolled. It still is an important component of your digital marketing realm for sure. So just a little forewarning there, not to be negative, but so first and foremost, I just think it's really important to talk about when you set up your social account, and this sounds really intuitive, but it needs to be said that when you're setting up your Facebook account or Instagram account, before you post anything, you need to make sure that all of your information is listed in your bio. So Instagram's a little bit more limited than Facebook about how much information you can put in your bio, which is at the very top of your profile page. So you have your profile picture, which you should always have a photo because it puts a face or an image, and it makes you more trustworthy. If there's no image there, no one's going to trust you as a reputable institution. So make sure you have a photo uploaded. I generally recommend staying consistent across your website, Facebook, and Instagram, and using your logo really increases your brand recognition. So people remember colors and fonts and images. So keeping it consistent, your profile photo for Instagram and Facebook, and somewhere on your website having your logo, that's usually the best image to use for your profile photo. So make sure you have that uploaded. Make sure the name of your school, the location, where you're located. You can include in your bio, you can have, I can't remember how many characters, but having a little tagline about your school, if you have like a slogan or a saying, something that follows you around across all platforms, putting that in there as well is a really good idea. And of course, a link to your website and contact information. So just make sure you include your school's website in there as well. So on Instagram, when people are looking at your profile, they can click that link. It's active at the top of your profile page in your bio, and that will just shoot them right over to your website. So The funny thing about Instagram, the only place you can put an active link is in your bio. So you can't, if you upload a photo or a video as a post, you can't include a link at the bottom. Like with Facebook, you can do that. But with Instagram, the only place you can have any active links is in your bio. So make sure you are taking advantage of that so people can click and go somewhere else.
It truly is a platform that's just giving impressions.
Definitely.
You're just creating impressions about your community, your school, what you're about, which, speaks to what you were saying earlier about having other avenues in place for marketing. But this one is such a good supplement because you're continuing to give those impressions.
Absolutely.
As your parents are really shopping around.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. They are definitely, it's a place to peruse for sure. It's not a place for like live links or anything like that. So we want to make sure we have our school's website there. So I think, we talked, I think, was it last week? We talked about creating our avatar. So I'm not going to talk too much about that today, but just to touch base briefly. So you set up your Instagram account, you're good to go. There's nothing, you haven't posted anything yet. Before you do, it's always a good exercise just to consider, take like 10 minutes just to think about who are you trying to reach, who are your current families who are going to be looking through your content, and what are they interested in? What do they care about? What would they want to see while they're scrolling through photos of their sister's new baby and their best friend's new puppy? Like they have all these like really engaging photos or videos that they're scrolling through on Instagram. How are you going to capture them while they're scrolling? And how do you get them to stop and look at your information? So consider who we're going to be talking to here, or showing photos to, I guess, or videos to, rather. And after you sort of created this, persona or multiple personas in your mind, it's a good exercise also to just come up with some content ideas. And I know we kind of also touched on this with our planning a content schedule for the year discussion. We sort of, you want to be posting pretty regularly. So what I have kind of a list of brainstormed ideas off the top of my head that are good things to consider for photos and videos to be posting on Instagram. And I think ultimately the goal here is to make prospective families feel like they're getting a sneak peek, like I said before. So how do we do that? Posting photos of lessons and activities that students are doing in the classroom, using a post to talk about the morning routine with photos that go with that, or a video of what your morning routine is, doing tours of the school building and the classrooms, as well as any special events that happen, make people feel like they're a part of it, even though they're not there. Let's see, we talked about events, testimonials from families. Get your parents involved and families involved. I know that families whose children are enrolled in Montessori have fallen in love and have plenty of wonderful things to say, and ask them if they'd be interested in being featured in your Instagram platform using you can do a video of your family just giving a quick, this is why I love this Montessori school, this is why my child loves this Montessori school. Or you can, if they'd prefer to do a written testimonial, like a really quick few sentences on like how Montessori changed their lives at home, just include a photo of the parent and child, or any photo that they consent to that includes a real human face, that puts a face to the story. So use your families. You can still post healthy, like a healthy recipe. Instagram has a feature where you can upload multiple photos at once. So you can include a screenshot of a recipe, swipe to the next photo, You can have a photo of the students making that recipe in the classroom, and swipe to the next photo, you can have the finished product. Utilizing utilizing stuff that you're doing with your students is always a good idea. So activities, and stuff that parents can use at home as well, or families can use at home, like recipes. Student spotlights and independent projects they're working on, photos of your guides, and in the caption, including perhaps like their favorite memory from the last year, why they love being a guide, why they love being at the school. Parent-to-parent tips from current families, again, including photos from family members in your community. And you can include content from your website, like I said, and I can go into that in detail further on how to make that happen, because it is a little confusing with Instagram. But those are just sort of some like really rough ideas that I brainstormed quickly. There's so much that you can cover, but really you just want your families to feel like they're getting a sneak peek. How can you make them feel like they're involved even when they're not there? That's sort of that's what Instagram's all about, giving people exposure. Yes, I know that was a lot. Is there anything, any questions, anything we should pause and talk about before I move on?
No, I just, I want to recognize you, patients, for all this work. This is huge, and your brainstorming ideas are incredibly helpful as we think about really how we're positioning our school to be more of that community that we know our parents are looking for. You know, it's a busy world, it's a hard world. You know, there's so many things that our parents need to do, and so you know, being able to help them understand that where their children are is the best place for them, and that they can feel connected throughout the day. And this is such a great way to do it. So I love the content idea list that you've got. It really only takes a couple minutes to do this. You know, like it doesn't have to be this big overarching plan that sometimes we put on, you know, new adventures, right? We get a little bit worried about putting our toe in there because we don't have a plan. We don't have how we're going to execute this. And this is really something that you can, you know, take the course. It takes like 15 minutes, 15 to 20 or so, depending on when you want to pause. Yeah. And you can do this. And this is a perfect time to do it because it's the new school year. So you can kind of prime your parents to understand that this is what we're doing. We're trying it out. We love your feedback along the way. And then, you know, if you want to have a testimonial, I mean, you just like drop little hints here and there to really create that following. And I know you're going to jump into it about following and what that looks like and all of that. But this is great. So I appreciate it.
Oh, I'm so glad. Yeah. I will say really quickly, we overcomplicate things, especially when it comes to content. What do we post? What do we write about? Blogs, it's the same thing. All we really want to do is to make our prospective families and current families feel like, yeah, their kids are so happy, and they're in a good place, they're with good people, they're doing great things, they're just in the right place. And that's all you can ever ask for as a parent, is when you're not with your child, is to feel like you're doing the right thing. And they are. So it's not as complicated as we make it out to be. It's really daunting at first, but it's really doable. So yes, just taking, like you said, 10 minutes to think about your everyday life, a day in the life. What can you show your families to be behind the scenes? So I mentioned Instagram being a little tricky about, it's not like Facebook. You can't just like post an article and have it be clickable, because you can't include links in your posts. So a common question is, how do I just posted a really great blog and I want to share it on social media. I posted it on Facebook, but how would I even go about posting it on Instagram? That doesn't make any sense because it's all image based. So the way you go around doing this is you're going to find a photo or a video. You can post a video that's discussing the article that you just published, but you can include a photo as well. And in your caption for that photo, pose a question or a lesson from the blog that you just published. So whatever the main topic is, I use the example of we had an article about, your kid encountered a mean kid at school. They come home and they say, there's this kid that's mean to me and I'm having a really hard time. How do you handle that? So using that as an example, post a photo or a video that's relevant to that topic. And in the caption, just include a question that's like, hey, has your child ever said this when they came home? What did you do about it? Or how would you go about handling that? We'd love to hear back from you. Check out the link in our bio to read our recent article discussing this in full. So what we're doing here is we're getting our users or followers to engage with us by answering our question, which engagement is really important. It helps with our algorithms, which I can explain later, but we want people to engage with our posts. So we're asking a question and getting a response or answers from people. And by saying, click the link in our bio to learn more, or like to read further, all they have to do is you just plop that blog link into your bio. So like under your bio information. And people do this all the time. They click on the link in the bio and that takes them right to the topic of discussion. So they can read on, and that is increasing our engagement to our website. So we're like driving traffic from Instagram to our website, which is increasing our engagement there as well. So it's like a win-win. You don't have to do this, but it is a good way to keep a conversation going. It's a good way to start conversations. And it's a great way to get people to go to your website and drive traffic there. Again, if this sounds like, I don't want to do that, it sounds like way too much work, that's fine. It's not like a super necessary thing to do, but people have asked how do I include a blog that I just published onto my Instagram account? That makes no sense. That's how.
Nice trick. Thanks for that.
Yeah. So hopefully that made some sense. And let me see if we can move along. Oh, okay. Instagram stories as well. People also do not know entirely what Instagram stories are. And so with Instagram, you can post on your profile these, photos or videos that are on your account, on your profile forever. Unless you delete them. You can scroll back through time, and it's like Facebook. These posts are there forever, which is really cool. What Instagram has done in the last, must be at least 2 years now, they kind of took this from Snapchat. And I don't know if many people know what Snapchat is, but it is another social media platform where you also send out. So it's less about posting, it's more about sending out to your contacts photos or videos that are kind of like, they have more of like a live feel to them. It's not like Facebook Live, but it is sort of like you're capturing a moment in your day as it's happening. It's maybe not as important as something you would post on your Instagram page or your Facebook page, but it's something that's you wanted to capture that day as it's happening. So with Snapchat, you are capturing a photo or a video as well, and you're sending that out to your contacts or specific contacts if you don't want to send it to everybody. And this photo or video lasts for 24 hours and then it disappears forever. And a lot of people are like, what's the point? Social media is funny. It's a really popular app. And it's kind of like, people kind of think of it as like a form of texting each other and just like, this is what's happening in my life, in my day. Because it's become a little bit more taboo to post to Facebook like every little thing that you're doing, because that used to be what happened many years ago when Facebook first came out. The joke was kind of like people would post, you know, going to the laundromat and then going to the gym. That's it. Like, and so the etiquette has changed. Facebook and Instagram are less about posting the mundane and more about posting really like interesting and engaging content. And Snapchat sort of found a way to still engage with other people with like, you know, like sort of a text style of social media. Mm-hmm. So Instagram took that idea. And so now Instagram has stories, and it's the same concept. You can snap a photo or a video, and you upload it to your stories, and that lasts for 24 hours and then it disappears. So it seems a little redundant to be like, it's another form of posting photos or videos onto Instagram. Why would I do that? It's just another way to engage with people. If you're like really not getting it and you're not into it, again, it's not like super necessary, but it is another way to put content in front of your followers. So if you're wondering how to do this, if you have your app open, there's a camera icon on the top left-hand corner of the app. And so you click on that, and you can either take a live photo or a video, or you can upload a photo or a video that already exists on your camera roll. So a lot of people already have a photo that they want to upload for the day as like a little Instagram story. If you took a bunch of photos that morning, for example, of like an open house that was going on, or like an event that was happening, you know, we snap lots of photos and videos while like events are happening on our school. And so you have all these great photos and videos, and you're like, I don't want to upload all of these to my Instagram page because it just seems like too much. Instagram stories is a really great way to do that. So you can go into your camera roll, upload a bunch of photos and videos from activities that were happening that day. You can just upload those as the day goes on, so people feel like they're getting a little, like we said, behind the scenes, some different exposure. And those photos and videos will disappear after 24 hours, and you can actually see how many people are viewing those. It's fun. It's not, you know, it's not like the end all be all, but it's a really good way to share more insight into your school without like spamming people. Because if you are posting like way too many redundant photos from Instagram, is not the place to post an album worth of photos. So usually you just want to post like 1 or 2 photos or videos from an event and no more, because people are like, okay, like I've seen enough of this. But with stories, that's where you can kind of put your overflow from like things that were happening that day. It's just another fun way to engage people. Again, don't stress it. If you're feeling like, I don't get it, the more you use the app, the more you will understand these things. So don't feel like you have to rush it. You can look at other people's stories. They appear on your homepage when you're on the Instagram app. You'll see all of these profile photos at the top that you can scroll through, and you can click on those, and those are other people's stories at the very top of your homepage. And you can kind of get a feel for what other people are doing and what's appropriate and what what are people posting about. And then once you're comfortable, you can get into it, but it's not the most essential aspect of Instagram quite yet. And it is a little redundant. Any questions there? I'm sorry, that was a little like complicated, but
no, that's good to have that background. I'm curious to know, those that are here live, if you currently use Instagram, or if this is a whole new ball of wax to take on. If you want to go ahead and just chat in there, I'd love to hear from you. And if you are using it, what's your experience? Are you finding it to be engaging? Emily said that she's just beginning to, and not to its capacity. So I imagine, Emily, this is probably really good to know, just some of these tips of different ways you can post, how often you can post, what kind of content you can post. Because you could, I mean, if you do all of this, you could probably post, I don't know, 2 to 3 times a day. I mean, think of how many things happen in our school throughout the day. We don't recommend posting 2 or 3 times a day. However, you know, the content available to you, if you get really creative, is there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And yeah, you can always post late too if you have a whole lot. Yeah, there's ways to
Right.
get around it. But anyway, I don't know if
Absolutely.
people have
Heidi
questions.
said that they just set theirs up, and Beth as well, just beginning to. Seems redundant to Facebook. How do we get followers? Which I think is on the docket next or very soon.
Yeah. So I can see how it seems redundant to Facebook. You The two can be connected, right? So any photo that you post on Instagram, you can share to Facebook. So that's a good thing to do. If you're not sharing the photos and videos from Instagram onto Facebook, that's something you should be doing. I have to remember exactly where that is on the app. If you go to your profile, Instagram profile, and you click on a photo, there on the top right hand corner, there's like the 3 dots, and a little thing will pop up, and there's a share option. You can click share, and you can have it linked to your Facebook page, and that's just a really good habit to get into. And that instantly is like filling up your Instagram or your Facebook page as well. So you're being consistent and also active on both. They can live together. They can support each other. Facebook, like I said, is a little bit more conducive for article posting and having discussions that way. It's easy to like cite sources through Facebook, and engaging with Instagram followers is a little different, but yeah, we can get into that. Getting followers. Did we have some questions? I saw things popping up.
Yeah, Beth's wondering if you do the opposite. Can you share from Facebook to Instagram?
That's a good question. No, you can't. I'm trying to think how you can get around that. It is pretty Instagram funneled to Facebook heavy. I think most social media apps funnel to Facebook. So Twitter, we don't need to get into it, but I think that like especially because Instagram is so image heavy, it it naturally should be shared to Facebook. Whereas with Facebook, you can't really share a status. If you post just text, if you had like some information that you posted to your Facebook page about like any cancellations or something like that, the only way to do that would be to take a screenshot of that post from Facebook and share that photo to Instagram.
What if you used it like this? So like we've got Facebook, you've got your business page, you schedule it out. You're really far ahead. You schedule your month the month before, and then you use Instagram as a, this is our community, snapshot of our community, and you post that to Facebook. Then you're kind of double dipping. You're doing that same thing that you would be doing in Facebook, but you're getting two different, or not different. I mean, you're getting two areas of exposure. Does that make sense?
It can be two different audiences too. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan of just talk to your families and be like, hey, which do you prefer? Do you prefer Facebook or Instagram? Just wondering, do you use either? Do you care about either? What do you like about them? Having like open, it doesn't need to be a mystery. Like having open, honest discussions with the people who are already engaged with your school is really valuable, because how they feel is probably how your prospective families feel as well. Sure. So just chat with them too. Like, what do you want to see, and what would we what do you not like about Instagram or Facebook? Having those open discussions is good too.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's always good to get that information from them, because then we know what we're doing is actually getting to them.
Yeah.
Because we can speculate so much and think about all of this, but if we have that open conversation of like, hey, what do you want to see in the weeklies that I send out? What is really the most engaging? What is the thing that stops you in your tracks and you put everything else on hold and you read it? And that, if you get that information from your families, you can duplicate that to your marketing strategies, because ultimately that's going to speak to the families that are looking at your school as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Was there another question I didn't address that was just asked? I'm sorry.
Well, Emily said that she is such a great scheduler. No,
Okay.
She's not talking about me as far as scheduling in advance. I know you're familiar with, you do Social Pilot where you schedule out Facebook posts, and it's just such a handy tool. And if you're a second play member and above, you have those social posts, so you can literally just copy paste in Social Pilot and schedule them out for a month in advance. They're designed that way for you. So it's just a matter of doing it, which,
It is. And God, yeah, we know how busy everybody is. It's really hard. I will say, and I think I talk about this a little bit later on, scheduling is great. Avoid autopilot, which is where Instagram stories come in handy, because you can't schedule that out. If there's not a spontaneous, like, magical moment happening at your school, like, capture it and put that in your Instagram stories. Like, that's what it's great for. Facebook Live also, I know we're focusing more on Instagram right now, but Facebook Live things, making sure you are engaging with people who are commenting on things. Like, make sure you're still logging in and responding in a timely manner. So if you're only logging in every once a month or something, or every like once a week even, to just like schedule things, make sure you're logging in more than that, and checking in on likes and comments, and any tagging that's happening, so you can respond to those. It just makes you look better in the eyes of people who are following you or considering following you. Just make sure you engage as well.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, it's not a one and done, right? It's not once a month.
Yeah,
just scheduling is one and done.
Yeah,
but then you got to maintain.
It is social media. So
right.
We got to be social.
Let's be social, people.
Be social, yeah. but scheduling, yeah, that makes it so much easier to have those scheduling platforms. It is really useful.
I think there was one which I know that you've got in your PowerPoint, which is how do you get followers and how do we follow someone else?
Yes. So how do we follow someone else? That one is just from a technical standpoint. If you are, I don't know if this is a question more about like trying to find people to follow, but the way you physically follow someone else is if you click on their profile at the very top of their page, there's a blue button that says follow, and you just have to click on that, and then they will forever, unless you decide you don't want to follow them anymore, they will forever be on your news feed. So you can see their photos, you can see their posts, you can see their Instagram stories. Just because you follow them does not mean that they're following you, though. As an etiquette, a good rule for an institution is to follow back users who follow you. So if you get a notification saying this user is now following you, it's generally a good idea, unless it seems like a spammy account. Don't follow those. But and there are a lot of those. But if someone follows you, follow them back, especially parents, especially related accounts, even other Montessori schools. It's a great way to just connect and network. So following people who follow you back.
And that sounds like a really good information gathering tool if you're following parents.
It is.
You get, like a quick snapshot of what their life is like. And again, you can create some really good strategies around marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's another question there. But so following people who follow you, following relevant accounts. And actually we have hashtags pulled up here. A really great resource is to use hashtags. So what you can do in Instagram, think of Instagram as an alternative to Google search. So with Google, we go to our search box and type in Montessori activities to do at home. In Instagram, and we get all these like results on the Google page after we enter that. And Instagram, let me pull mine up really quickly. You can go, so if you see a hashtag on someone's post, you can click on it and it will give you all the posts that have that same hashtag. Or you can go to the search page. So on your app, the very bottom of the app, there's like the home button, the search button, and the plus button. So you're going to go to that little search button. And in the search box, you can type in, let me see, Montessori at home. And that is a hashtag that has a lot of posts, and they're all relevant to, I don't know if you can see this, but they're all these like activities and ideas of things to do at home. So it's another search tool. And it's much more visual, and it's much more engaging. So you can use hashtags to find relevant accounts, and you can follow those accounts. And a lot of times those accounts will follow you back, especially if it's like sort of a networking type of a thing. So other Montessori-esque accounts. And to get followers though, I would first and foremost, again, just talk to your current families and say, hey, we just got a new Instagram account, and it would be lovely to connect with you outside of the classroom. Please follow us. Include your Instagram account on the bottom of your emails. So you can click on your website, you can click on your Facebook account, you can click on your Instagram account. A lot of people are checking emails from their phone, and a lot of people already have Instagram downloaded. So first and foremost, reach out to your existing circle. That's how you get your very baseline group of followers. And you're not going to accumulate new followers if you have like 2 people following your account. It just looks shady, doesn't look super trustworthy. So if you can just get 100 people off the bat, yourself, your family, your friends, your current families who are enrolled, your guides friends, your guides partners, get those people first in and liking your social page, and then more will come. And the way you get more to come is by engaging. So like I said before, this is social media. Engage with people who are commenting, engage with people who are starting conversations. Instagram, like Facebook, has an algorithm, and we don't know how it works. Essentially what that means is you can post a photo right now. It's 11:15 here in the morning in Arizona. And just because I posted something right now at 11:15, and I have someone who follows me who's on Instagram, that doesn't mean that they're going to see my post right away, because Instagram uses relevancy and what they think, what the app thinks you as an Instagram user care about. They're sort of going to filter out posts that way. So it's not recency, it's relevancy. So just because you put a post out right now doesn't mean people who are on the app right now and follow you are going to see it. Mm-hmm. So how do you get to be more relevant? Engaging with people. We don't know much about the algorithm. We do know that engaging with other users, so like on your own posts, on comments on your posts, how much you engage with other people on their posts. Don't do too much of that, but like still reaching out, being social. Doing that regularly helps it gives you kind of like bonus points from Instagram. And so the more you're using your account, the more regularly you post, not spamming, but like a few times a week. Instagram's like, okay, this is like a relevant account. They use it. People are engaging, they engage. It's worth people's time to see their posts. So the way you accumulate followers after getting your like sort of base is by engaging. That's just the best way to do it organically. So posting regularly, talking to people. It really is more common sense than we think. It's just using social media like you would at like a, you know, like social gatherings. How do you behave? And like how do you make friends? How do you, you know, you don't like spam people, and you also don't like hide in a corner. You sort of are just, you know, you chat, you open discussions, you share valuable information, engaging stuff. You talk back when people talk to you. Yeah, that's organic. It's hard to accumulate a ton of followers without existing followers, and without just like engaging. You just have to engage and post regularly. It's my best advice. Yeah.
Right. Interesting. You know, as I was listening to you, there's a lot of thoughts I had when it comes to posting often and getting that following happening. And it takes persistence, right? Like it takes time for you to build that following and that presence. Similar to like when we start your Google ads, there's time, you know, there's a 90-day window that it takes to really optimize everything and get those impressions out there and get people, you know, seeing your ads and becoming curious and eventually clicking and eventually scheduling a tour with you. And that just takes time. So this kind of falls in that same category where, you know, you start and don't get discouraged because it is going to take time to do that. But this is such an opportunity too. I feel like, you know, I wonder how many of our competitors are doing this or have discovered that this could be a really good way for us to gain trust with parents because they see you. You know, a lot of the issues that we've been having with Montessori schools is just transparency. You know, parents don't know truly what it is we do in our classroom, and we try to explain it away, but oftentimes we need to drip information to them throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the year, and as their children start to grow. And this is such a interesting opportunity to be able to do that alongside everything else that we do. So I'm gonna get off my soapbox right now, but I got really excited because I'm like, this is new. This might actually set you apart from your competitors, which I know, you know, it's challenging in general because we have a lot of competition in this space. Yep. But if you can just, you know, get in front of those prospective parents, they're going to see you because we know, I mean, Montessori is a scientific-based method of education. We hands down have like, you know, miles ahead of our competitors. Okay. But when they market well and when they get in front of those prospective parents, then we lose the game because then we're just kind of at liberty to whoever gets to them first. And typically, you know, they gain loyalty through that process. So yeah, I mean, I feel like this is just such a good tool for that.
It is. It does take time, but yeah, you do have to be patient. It is a really good tool. And like you said, I think a big, I think I say it in the course, I don't think it's in this presentation, but ultimately, you know, I think we get lost in the explanation part. This is what we do. This is what Montessori is, because it's this whole method that people are unfamiliar with. So we spend so much of our time just explaining what it is, what we do. Here's what you need to know, instead of just like showing people why it's so great. And that's why your website should do that explaining. Your social pages should show what's happening. And that's the goal of social media, is to get that first look, to feel like you're experiencing it, and to feel connected. And that at the end of the day, say what you will about social media, it certainly has its downfalls, but it's about connection. And as Montessorians, you're so good at connecting. You have all of these amazing tools already at your fingertips about connecting with other people. Yeah, it's just a really good opportunity to show that side of you and give some exposure. I think we have.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, that process of getting new prospective parents, imagine them coming to your door You've got a beautiful website, you've got Instagram and Facebook, you've got followers, you've got engaging content, you've got amazing conversations that happen in Facebook, and they come to your tour, and they're just going to be blown away by what it is, like the reality. It's almost like you became this thing in their head, right? And then they walk in and they're like, wow, I really had no idea how amazing this place is. I want my child here. Sign me up.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, we just got some chats. Yeah, so I'll just touch really, really, really briefly on hashtags though. That's another great way for people to find you. Using hashtags, I know it's like, for the longest time, I made fun of hashtags. I still do. They're kind of like, they can be a little over the top, and for a long time, nobody quite understood what they did. But think of it as indexing your posts. So, or like, it's the same as if there's a Google search and you have an article that has that's about a certain topic, and someone searches in Google, and what keywords would make your article pop up for that? Hashtags are basically keywords, and by using hashtags on your Instagram photos, that's basically categorizing and indexing your photo. It makes your posts, and therefore your profile, searchable and discoverable by new prospective families, and it's also a good way for you to network and find other people who are using the same hashtags. It just has it does surprisingly have some use, but hashtag, don't overuse them. Everything in moderation. You don't need to use a whole lot of hashtags to get your point across. You can just use 3, 4, 2, 1, but you don't want it to be like hashtag city. But there is a use. That's another good way to find other accounts, and for other accounts to find you. Yes, I don't know if there are any.
And Beth is asking, when you want to follow someone, do they approve or accept you first? Or is it that, as soon as you sign up for Instagram, that you can be followed by anybody? How does that work?
Say that one more time. I'm sorry.
Let's say you want to follow somebody, do they have to approve it or accept it? Kind of like a friend request?
Okay, yes. So it depends on your account settings. Are you a public account or a private account? You, as a Montessori school, should be a public account so people can find you. Private accounts, anything they post will only show up on the search page for people who already follow them. If that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So private account is very sheltered and cut off, but there are reasons that people do that, obviously. But as a school, you should be a public account, because that way your posts can just pop up on when people are browsing through Instagram. So if people because you're a public account, if someone follows you, it will be instant. They will automatically be following you from then on out, because all they have to do is click that follow button and you're done. If you want to follow a private account, the process is the same. You're going to go to that account, that profile page. It will show their bio. Your bio will always show, no matter whether you're public or private. It will show their bio, but their little image section, their profile section below that, will have a little locked symbol, and you can't see any photos. So all you have to do is click the follow button, that blue button we talked about, and it will say request sent. I don't know the exact verbiage, I can't remember, but basically then they will approve you or not. But for your own account, you should be public, because you want people to find you. Yes, good question.
And we've got a few more patients, and I want to make sure I'm respectful of your time and those that have attended. How do you feel about kind of wrapping up your presentation in about 5 minutes, and then we'll address the questions that Heidi and maybe some others will participate?
Yeah, we'll well, we can get through these pretty quickly. So people ask how frequently they should be posting. There's no magic rule. Overall, post regularly. That's just my suggestion. You don't want to be spamming people. So generally speaking, not more than like 2 times a day. But you don't want to be doing any less than 1 post a week. So you want to be active. You want to be engaged. Do what feels right. Just make sure you're consistent and posting regularly. And you do lose credibility when you're not posting. You know, if your last post was from like Christmas time, then that's not going to look good. Content scheduling, same idea. Just be consistent. We talked about, you know, using Buffer, Hootsuite, Social Pilot. Those are all great options to make sure you're being consistent. If you don't trust yourself to be posting regularly, you can come up with a social schedule. So every like Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, whatever, you can do that if that's going to help you be accountable as well. But again, not super necessary. Things are a little bit more relaxed with social media. And avoid autopilot, which I said, make sure you're being social, make sure you're not just scheduling posts and never coming back again until you're posting, you know, for the next month. And we talked about engagement. Make sure you're engaging or the algorithm is going to bury you deep down and you will never be discoverable and you will not get any followers. So worst case scenario. Follow your followers, comment and like your followers' content. Always reply to comments on your photos. Like I talked about this before, include a call to action in your like captions. Ask questions. What do you think about this? Here's a photo of something that happened at our school today. What do you like to do when you're at home with your child? Like, you know, just asking questions to get people to respond, boost your credibility on Instagram when people are commenting and engaging. That was it. We sort of covered all those things. But yeah, let's move on to those exciting questions that I can hopefully help people with.
Absolutely. So Heidi asked, do you follow people who haven't or haven't yet follow you? And I believe you answered that, but do you have anything more to say about that?
So yes. So if someone follows you, first of all, if someone follows you, like I said, you're not automatically following them back. So that's a note to take. It's not like Facebook where once you're friends with somebody, you're mutually like friends. With Instagram, like I follow some famous musicians on Instagram, but they're not following me, you know? So first of all, it's good to know you're not automatically following someone just because they followed you and vice versa. As an etiquette rule, which I think that's what it was more of, was like an etiquette rule. It's a good idea to follow people who follow you. Unless, like I said, it's sort of a irrelevant account, like someone who doesn't, you know, I don't know, if it seems spammy to you, don't follow it. But overall, it's a good idea to follow people who follow you.
And I imagine it's pretty easy to do that, right? Like you get notification that you've got somebody who followed you, and then you can easily click a button that says follow back or something.
Yep. So exactly. So you do get notified when someone follows you, even if you have a public account. So it's just like, hey, this person's following you now. If you have a private account, it's a little different. It says like, hey, you have a request. Will you accept it? Mm-hmm. But you do get a notification and just follow back. They make it pretty easy. There's a little follow button and you can just follow them right back. Yeah.
Awesome. So Heidi also asked if you've ever been locked out by Instagram. That has happened to them for the first time and they're not sure why.
Oh no. So that hasn't happened to me. It's happened to friends of mine. And I don't wish I had the personal experience, but I know that it's something that helps to have experienced yourself to give advice on this. I'm sure that you've done a Google search already. I know that people reach out so you can send like a little support ticket to Instagram and see what happened. I'm not sure if they gave you a reason why it was locked out. Sometimes you get hacked and they maybe gave you a reason. I don't know if she had a reason for that, but let me see. Violating terms of, so perhaps it was what you can do is ask for more information, I think. Sometimes, like I know sometimes it can be a copyright issue if there's like music in the background. But that they usually just delete the post. They don't lock you out. They're mostly private accounts. So that's a good note as well. If you are, I don't know how many accounts you were trying to follow, but if you're, so Instagram is very wary of spam. So they can be hypersensitive, which is why I was saying, engage with other accounts, but not too much. Like make sure you're not like liking, commenting, following everything, because Instagram can be a little hypersensitive about spaminess. So in that case, it's not a permanent thing. I believe that they will let you back in. God, this hasn't happened to me, so I don't wish I had better advice. But I think following up with Instagram usually yields, I think they have some level of customer support in which they can help you out or give you answers at least. You can always start a new account if you were at a very like ground zero level, like there was nothing really going on yet. You can start a new account and just go from there and just keep that in mind. But
yeah, and this actually leads into another question. Do you set up your school's account as a business account? Instagram seems to be geared more towards individuals, especially with your phone. How do you pass ownership if you need to?
Passing ownership.
And I understand, Patience, you're not an Instagram expert. You said that at the beginning. So if you're not able to answer, absolutely, that's fine. So don't feel like you have to answer anything.
Fine. So I think you do have to do it as a business, which can make you, unfortunately, get buried a little bit more. They do prefer, individual accounts. And as a business, you have to work a little bit harder to be seen. I would check out what other Montessori schools are doing as well. If they're listing themselves as a business, I might check out your, not even just competitors, but just see what other Montessori schools are doing. If they're public or if they're a business account or not. And then passing on ownership, that, so I imagine that's coming from a place of wondering if you have other people who are going to want to access the account, and how you do that if you have it on your phone. I think that's the question. And, I haven't shared, typically all it takes is if another person has a Instagram downloaded on their phone, as long as they have the login information, you can share that. So another user can also be an admin on Instagram. And I believe that won't cause any issues because I know that I've accessed clients' Instagram accounts just using their login information, and they were accessing it from a different device as well, and that doesn't seem to cause any issues. Yeah, so.
Good, that's good to know. And here's a hashtag question. Do you hashtag everything, most things with Montessori at home, or just things that parents can do at home?
I would hashtag, so like I said, I would think of hashtags as a way to categorize whatever you're talking about. So whatever your talking point is, it doesn't have to be just Montessori at home. It can be, I'm trying to think of other potential posts. Montessori method, that's a hashtag as well. If you search Montessori method, there are like 600,000 posts, I think, that are under Montessori method that are all relevant. So whenever you're posting any photo or video, I would just consider, like, what am I talking about here? If I were to sum up what I'm talking about in 3 key phrases or so, how would I do that? And those are your hashtags. There are also like trendy hashtags that people will, so people can follow hashtags, another confusing thing. So not only can people follow profile accounts, so they can follow you, but they can also follow if you have a branded hashtag. So if you are, Oak Street Montessori, for example, if that's the name of your school, if you include the hashtag Oak Street Montessori on all of your posts, people can click on that hashtag and choose to follow it. And so any post that includes that hashtag will show up on their newsfeed. So it's a good idea, if nothing else, to use branded hashtags. So coming up with a hashtag for your school will make it so people can click on, if someone stumbles upon your post and they're like, oh, like, this looks like a really interesting account, and they click on that hashtag that is the branded hashtag, name of your school, whatever you choose. They can click on that hashtag and it will take them to all of your posts that include that hashtag. So at the very least, you should be doing probably a branded hashtag, hashtags that include the name of your school, as well as any hashtags that sort of categorize what your post is about, anything that's relevant. And again, you don't need to go overboard with it. Just a few will do, but it is a good idea to use them. And you can do some searching to get some inspiration as well. Just like check out, do some hashtag Montessori searches, because you're going to get a ton of stuff, and then click on photos and see what other hashtags people use, because chances are if they did hashtag Montessori, that's a very general hashtag. So see what other hashtags they included at the bottom of that post there, and maybe get some inspiration for like, oh, that's kind of like a relevant hashtag for things that we do. Yeah, sort of an art and a science to hashtagging.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you've got any other questions, those that are live, and I'm actually just going to check Facebook too to make sure that we've got no pending questions. But patients, we're so thankful again to have you here. You've been so helpful this summer, just kind of getting us geared for the upcoming season, trying a few new things. And so I really appreciate your time.
I'm happy to do it. Yeah, that is, it's my pleasure for sure. And enjoying it. And I'm happy to answer any questions too. If people are like sort of overwhelmed right now, and then they take the course or just after sort of sitting on it for a while, they're like, just kidding, I have questions. I'm happy to answer those later on as well.
And actually, we have a comment in Facebook from Melissa who said, I like how they have made it easier to switch between your personal and your business accounts on Facebook and Instagram. So that's cool. It is
really cool. You do not have to like log in and log out every time on Instagram. You can just like switch accounts very easily once you link them up. And they made it pretty easy. Sitting on it for a while, they're like, just kidding, I have questions.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Emily says it was very helpful. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely, Emily. We're happy that you're here, and happy preparing for your upcoming school year. That's super exciting. But again, thank you, patients, for being here, and we will see you all next week.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
All righty. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.